The cold, snowy land of Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson in Anchorage, Alaska, was the scene for a very important meeting. This past Friday, President Donald Trump of the United States met with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. This was their 7th meeting, and it was a big moment for world leaders. The war in Ukraine has been going on, causing much trouble in the world. But this time, something truly new and surprising happened at the start of their discussions. President Trump carried a special letter with him. This letter was not a normal message from the government, like from the State Department. It was a personal letter from First Lady Melania Trump. It was written on White House paper and was for President Putin directly. The letter had a strong and emotional request inside. It asked for peace in Ukraine, a country torn by conflict. It focused deeply on the children who are suffering because of the ongoing war, a situation that worries many around the globe. The First Lady wrote about how all children, no matter where they live or what their background, have the same hopes for love, possibilities, and safety. She explained how war takes these dreams away and causes great pain. Her words called on President Putin to help end this suffering for the children. She wrote about protecting the innocence of these young ones and bringing back their melodic laughter. This was a direct, human, and heartfelt plea, different from usual political talks. Many people watched, including officials from both countries, as President Putin opened and read the letter immediately. This was very unusual for such an important diplomatic meeting. It was not a formal political message, but a personal one from a wife and mother, showing a deep personal conviction. This action by the First Lady was truly new and had no clear example in history. It was a step never seen before in this kind of high-level diplomacy. It showed a different way to try to solve big global problems. Melania Trump's letter used personal feeling to highlight the suffering of children and seek peace, making it a historic and unexpected part of the important Alaska Summit. This new form of diplomacy by a First Lady could change how we think about their role in world affairs. 2. A special letter. The letter Melania Trump wrote was very special. It did not use formal political words like typical government messages. Instead, it used personal and emotional language. Melania Trump wrote not as a politician, but as a concerned mother. She cared deeply about the future of all children. In the letter, she spoke about children's dreams. She wrote that every child, no matter where they are from, dreams of love, safety, and a good life. She said it is the duty of all parents to help the next generation grow up with hope. She reminded leaders of their big responsibility to protect children everywhere. The letter asked President Putin directly to protect the children affected by the war and restore peace. She wrote, "Mr. Putin, you can single-handedly restore their melodic laughter." She stated that by protecting innocent children, he would help not only Russia, but all humanity. This was a very direct and strong request, coming from deep human feeling. When President Putin received the letter, his reaction was very unusual. Many might save such a letter to read later, but President Putin did not wait. He opened it right away and began to read it immediately. Everyone present watched as he read the letter in front of both the American and Russian teams. This moment was unexpected and brought an unusual quiet to the meeting. This direct appeal showed how personal feelings could become part of very important global talks. Melania Trump's letter focused on the children of Ukraine, whose lives were affected by the war. It asked for their protection and for peace. The letter aimed to touch President Putin's heart and make a real difference for these young lives. It was a significant moment during the meeting. 3. Famous First Ladies. Melania Trump's recent action shows that First Ladies can play a special role in world events. Throughout history, many American First Ladies have used their unique position to help with global challenges. They often worked in ways different from normal government rules. They showed their role is more than just supporting the president. Eleanor Roosevelt changed the First Lady's job. After President Franklin D. Roosevelt passed away, she became a United States delegate to the United Nations. She worked hard to write the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, an important document about basic rights for all people. She showed a First Lady can work inside big international groups to make changes for human dignity. Jacqueline Kennedy also made a big mark. She used cultural diplomacy. In 1961, she visited France. She impressed President Charles de Gaulle and the French people with her charm and ability to speak French. This helped make relations between France and America stronger during the Cold War. Her presence also added a personal touch to meetings with the Soviet leader. Hillary Clinton used her voice on the world stage. In 1995, she gave a famous speech in Beijing, China, at a United Nations meeting. She clearly stated, "Women's rights are human rights." Her words were strong, challenging many countries on basic human fairness. Like Melania Trump's direct appeal, Hillary Clinton's speech went straight to world leaders with important moral points. During the 1980s, Nancy Reagan played a special role. She became personal friends with Raisa Gorbachev, wife of the Soviet leader, Mikhail Gorbachev. Their friendship became a quiet way for the two powerful countries to talk during tense Cold War times. These personal meetings helped build understanding between the two nations. These First Ladies, like Melania Trump, found unique ways to use their influence. They used their position, not just formal rules, to speak about big issues. Their actions often helped create change and brought important topics to world leaders. They showed that personal appeals can make a real difference in global events and humanitarian causes. 4. A royal story. After looking at American First Ladies, it is important to see powerful women from other countries. These women also used their influence to help people. They worked for good causes around the world. One such woman was Princess Diana. She was very famous in the United Kingdom. In 1997, she started a big campaign. This campaign was against landmines. Landmines are hidden bombs that hurt many people, even after wars finish. Princess Diana walked in minefields in countries like Angola and Bosnia. She showed the world how dangerous landmines were. Her actions made people pay attention. She used her fame to put pressure on governments. This helped to ban landmines in many places. Her work was about helping people who were hurt by war. She showed great care for human lives. Another very important woman was Queen Elizabeth II. She was the Queen of the United Kingdom for a very long time. She used her position to help her country's image and build relationships. This is called soft power. She did not use military power or strict rules. Instead, she used her personal visits and talks. For example, in 2011, she visited Ireland. This was a very important visit, the first by a British monarch in 100 years. During a dinner, she even spoke some Irish words. This small act helped to heal old problems between the two countries. Her actions helped to make peace and build trust. Both Princess Diana and Queen Elizabeth II used their unique positions. They were not elected politicians, but they had great personal influence. They used this influence to work for humanitarian causes. Their actions often went outside the usual government ways. They showed that a person's voice, full of care and moral strength, can help bring big changes to the world. They showed that famous women can make a real difference in global problems. 5. The children of Ukraine. Melania Trump's letter focused very much on children. This was because of a very sad and serious situation in Ukraine. Many Ukrainian children have been taken from their homes and families during the conflict. It is believed that nearly 20,000 children have been moved from Ukraine to Russia. This act has caused great sorrow and worry across the world. This was not an accident, but part of a planned action. These young children are separated from their parents and their own Ukrainian culture. They are often placed in Russian families or special homes for children. These places try to make them forget their real homes, their language, and their traditions. This makes it very hard for them to ever go back to Ukraine and their own people. Important groups around the world are very worried about this. The International Criminal Court, which is a global legal body, has said that taking these children in this way is a very serious problem. They have called it a war crime. The court has even said that Vladimir Putin and another official are responsible for these actions, showing the serious nature of the situation. Some of the children who are taken are very young, even as little as 4 years old. They might be told that their mothers and fathers are gone forever, but often their parents are still desperately looking for them. These parents sometimes try dangerous journeys into conflict areas, risking their lives to find their children. However, many times they cannot bring their children home, which is heartbreaking. The children suffer a great deal from this. Beyond being separated from their loved ones, they face changes to their identity. They lose their connection to their language, their history, and their own culture. You are a professional documentary film narrator with a standard American accent. Narrate the provided story. Enunciate words clearly, ensuring they are easily understandable for non-native English students. Speak at a measured pace and unhurried pace. Make your tone and delivery natural and engaging. Your tone must absolutely be really serious. Make no additional comments. Begin narrating immediately. Russian officials have said this is to help the children and for their proper development, but many people believe it is wrong and harmful to them. Melania Trump's letter was a direct message about this deep tragedy. She asked for these terrible actions to stop immediately. Her words were a strong and emotional appeal to help these innocent children. She wanted their bright smiles and happy laughter to return to their faces. She wanted them to be safe again and to be reunited with their own families. The letter was a powerful call to end this deep sorrow for the children of Ukraine, highlighting their suffering above all else. 6. What people think. Melania Trump's letter to President Putin caused many different reactions around the world. In the United States, some people praised the First Lady. They said her letter was a smart and caring new way to help. For example, Representative Jim Jordan, a person close to President Donald Trump, said it was the right kind of personal talk that could work when other ways failed. These supporters believed it showed a real wish to help people. However, other people in the U.S. did not agree. They were worried that a simple letter was not strong enough to make President Putin change his actions. Senator Chuck Schumer, a Democratic leader, said that personal letters cannot take the place of a full plan or strong pressure on Putin to end the war. Some experts also worried that Russia might use the letter for its own benefit, making the U.S. seem weak. European countries reacted carefully. They supported the idea of stopping the suffering in Ukraine, but they were not sure about the way the letter was used. A spokesperson for French President Emmanuel Macron called it a good human act. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said that while they liked efforts to end the pain, Ukraine's land and international laws must stay important. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky did not say anything about the letter right away, but his office made it clear that any peace talks must include Ukrainian voices. They also said that Ukraine's right to control its own land must be respected. This showed that Ukraine was being careful too. In Russia, state media reacted in a way that surprised many. They usually do not like American ideas. But they praised the letter. They said it showed real care for people and that President Putin was a kind leader. Russian television showed pictures of President Putin reading the letter many times. This helped them make President Putin look good to people in Russia and other countries. The letter gave Russian officials a way to show their leader as someone who cares about human problems. But it was not clear if this would lead to real changes. The letter became part of the information war. Each side used it to tell its own story about the conflict. It showed how a simple act could be seen in many different ways by people around the world. 7. Two big leaders. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin share a long and complex history. They have met face-to-face 7 times before. Their first meeting was at the G20 summit in Hamburg in July 2017. People often saw a special personal connection between the two leaders. President Trump often said he admired President Putin's style of leadership. Many people watched these meetings closely. Sometimes their past talks left more questions than answers. For example, after their meeting in Helsinki in 2018, President Trump seemed to agree with President Putin over what American intelligence agencies said. This made some people worry about their relationship. This meeting in Alaska was different from their past talks in a very important way. It happened when the war in Ukraine was still going on. In this war, President Putin is seen by many countries as the aggressor. This made the discussions in Alaska much more serious and risky for President Trump. Usually, leaders talk about big political and military plans. But in Alaska, something new happened. First Lady Melania Trump's personal letter added a very different element to their discussions. Her letter was not about politics or military strategies. It was about the suffering of children in Ukraine. She wrote as a mother, asking for peace and for the children to be safe. This brought a very human and emotional part to the high-level meeting. It was an unusual way for leaders to talk about such a big problem, going beyond the usual political talks between them. The letter tried to shift the focus from war to humanitarian help for children. The letter was given at the very start of the summit. This might have changed the whole mood for the meeting. It made people think about moral duties and human suffering, not just rules of war. It was a new kind of diplomacy, using personal feelings to talk about global issues. This approach was new for their relationship, going beyond the normal political calculations that usually happen between President Trump and President Putin. Now, after the Alaska summit, the world waits for the next important step. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will soon visit Washington. He will have a very important meeting with President Trump. This visit will be crucial for Ukraine's future. President Zelensky will need to talk about his country's needs and how to bring real peace and safety to its people, especially the children caught in the conflict. The results of this meeting will show how much impact the First Lady's letter and the Alaska talks really had. 8. The end of the story. Melania Trump's letter to President Vladimir Putin was a very important moment. It showed how personal feelings can meet global politics. The letter came from her heart, focusing on the suffering of children. This was a new way to try and make peace. Now we look at what might happen next. There are different ways this story could end. The best possible outcome is that the letter truly helps the children of Ukraine. This would mean that Russia allows these children to return to their families. It could also mean more help for people in need, like prisoner exchanges or letting aid groups into war areas. If this happens, the letter will be seen as a great step for peace. It would show that personal appeals can sometimes work when other ways fail. However, there is also a difficult outcome. The letter could be used only for propaganda. This means Russia might use it to make President Putin look good, without truly changing anything. Russian state media has already used the letter in this way, saying it shows Putin is a kind leader. If this happens, the letter will not bring real help to the children. It would be a warning about how good intentions can be misused in a time of war. The letter shows the power of using moral authority. This is when someone uses their good name and values to ask for something important. First ladies often have this power. They can talk about big problems like human rights or children's safety in a way that leaders might listen to. But there are also risks. When a country is at war, it is easy for messages to be twisted. A good message can be turned into something else by those who want to win. So, the letter is a mix of hope and risk. It is a try for peace through a personal message. Its true success will depend on what happens next for the children in Ukraine. What do you think? Can a personal letter really change things in a big conflict like this?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.